Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Tolu Ayahadewusi. It's another wonderful episode of Cooking with Tolu or Tolu Cooks, and I am so excited to have you watching this episode. This time around, I'm taking you back to my hometown. I am an Ijesha girl. True and true. And this one is for the Ijesha people, for the Ekiti people. And if you like my culture, please come on, try this one with me. Tonight, I'm gonna be making the almighty pounded yam. I say this one, I don't get more than pesto. I for pound down for you real good. That's the way my father loved it. But this one is pando. But I'm making pounded yam and Efo Riro vegetable soup, which I'm gonna be using with spinach, and it's gonna be wonderful. It has a lot of protein. Woo! I can't just wait to share this recipe with you. Let me introduce you to the ingredients I'm gonna be using tonight. Come on, guys. Now the ingredients is all laid out. I love to have a whole lot of obstacles. You know, you gotta go this way, go this way, go this way to arrive at the dish. So for this Efo Riro, I'm gonna be using, of course, palm oil. That is the first thing that goes in the pot. I'm gonna be using palm oil to start off this dish. I have about 2 cups of palm oil in this cup that I'm gonna be using. And I have some pepper already blended up. In this bowl, it is majorly red bell pepper and habanero pepper and onions. So this is what I do. In this bag, I have my bell peppers. When I like to buy in bulk. I buy like a box of everything to make it cheaper for me. Don't worry, I'll do another video for you showing you guys on how I preserve my food through the winter months, because when you buy in bulk, it's honestly cheaper. So all I did today was I went in the freezer and I picked out some frozen bell peppers, and this is about 7 big frozen bell peppers and 2 big onions. And I do the same thing too with my habanero. My habaneros, my tomatoes, and I used about 3 habaneros in this blend. So you can always adjust it to your taste. If you do not like the pepper, you can totally skip this, and if you like more, you can always add more. So that's the pepper I'm using for this dish. And also in here I have my spinach. This has been washed, squeezed, and it's ready to go. So this is actually 2 bags of spinach. I usually use the 5-pound bag. If you want something smaller, you can go for that, but I always want a big pot of soup. You know, now I have to cook for the whole community now, so I always want to do a little bit more. Then for my meats and obstacles, I'm using some smoked turkey, I'm using some stockfish, I'm using some dry fish, I'm using some cow feet. This is cow feet and cow skin, pomo and esero bokoto. I'm using some shaki. This is tripe. And I'm using some fresh shrimp. You can always use the dry one. If you have the dry one, you can always use that, but I always like to use to mix in. So for here I have my crayfish already cleaned, washed, ready to go. I have my chopped onions. This is half of a bug. And I have my locust beans. This one I actually have the softer mashed one, and I have the locust beans in its old form. This is what we call irupete. This is irupete and iruworo. So I'm gonna be using the mixture of 2. If you do not like locust beans, you can skip this dish without putting in the locust beans. If you want more, you can add more. If you want less, you can always adjust. Like I always say, adjust it to your taste. Now for the seasoning of this dish, vegetable soup does not require a lot of seasoning because the locust beans is very rich, but you just want to go simple. You don't want to do too much to your vegetable soup. So for this, I'm going to be using, of course, some salt, and use salt to taste. I'm going to using some bouillon. I'm going to put in some ginger powder, and I'm going to put in some garlic powder. And the reason why I'm using ginger powder and garlic powder is because when I blended up the pepper, I did not put any ginger or garlic. So, guys, this is Tolu Cook.
Tell me who you know, who cooks it better. Tell me who you know, who's got the finest recipe. Tell me who you know, who plans it better.
Okay. Guys, the first thing we need to do is we need to wash our hands. Our hands are washed. Now we need to go over to the stove and get this dish rolling. The first thing we need to do is turn on the stove. This is not something you want to cook on high heat. You just need medium to high to get our pot warm. Yes, there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna put a palm oil. That's about 2 cups of palm oil. Some people like to cook their vegetable with granite oil. If that's what you like, that's okay. But palm oil is very healthy and it gives this dish another level of flavor. And I'm gonna let that thin out. Okay, so now I add in the onions. Once I start sauteing the onions, I like to go ahead and add in my locust beans. I like them to fry together. So we're just gonna let this fry for about a minute to 2, not long at all. I do not like to let it overcook. At this point, I add in my crayfish. It's already cleaned and ready to go. I like to add in my crayfish early because I like it to fry in. I'm not using blended crayfish, so when I put it in early, it cooks it, infuse the flavor into the dish. So at this point, I can increase the heat a little bit to get the frying going. The smell in this kitchen has already changed. The crayfish, the locust beans, and the onions frying together. It's already smells like I'm back in my hometown in Ijesha. And while this dish is so close to my heart is the fact that this is a specialty for the Ijesha people, and at the same time my father made us cook this about 5 times a week because he would tell us that we need to make him a soup fresh every time he has to eat pounded yam, and he doesn't like to eat pando, it has to be pounded. So in our house, at least 5 times, 5 days, on 5 different times, you're gonna hear pukum 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 going, because actually I think that's why I have some upper muscle strength, because I did a lot of pounding, guys. So this is already frying well. At this point, I'm gonna put in my dry fish, my stock fish. I always want to fry in all my meats before I put in my pepper, because I really do not want my pepper to fry for long. If you look in here, it's already fried in. You see how that is foaming up? That is just the onions, the locust beans, and the crayfish. Now I'm gonna put in the dry fish. It's already cleaned, ready to go. I'm gonna also add in my stock fish. I have soaked the stock fish. I soak the stock fish in salt water to kind of make it tender because I do not want it tough. So I let the flavor from the onions, the locust beans, and the crayfish start infusing with all the meat. So I'm gonna let this just stir in together. Then I'm gonna put in my meat. Now I'm gonna put in my smoked turkey. I'm gonna put in my bokoto, the cow feet and the cow skin. I actually cook this with a pressure cooker, and whenever I do all my meats, whenever I prep them ahead, I only use salt because I'm gonna season my food and I do not want to overpower it. So it's just salt that is in this. That is my bokoto, my cow feet and the cow skin. More. In some languages, pomo means something else. But cow skin is called pomo in Yoruba. So I'm just gonna... Now I'm gonna add in the tripe, my Shaki. If you notice, the only thing I'm not adding in is my shrimp. If I go ahead and add in the shrimp at this time, it's gonna overcook, and I do not want that. So I'm just gonna set that to the side. After I put in the pepper, I'm gonna put in the shrimp, and it's still gonna cook beautifully. So I'm gonna put in some Maggi. I'm using half teaspoon. Gonna put in some garlic. Of course, some salt, not too much. I already pre-cooked all my meat with salt. And ginger, I want about 1 also. It's half teaspoon. When I use 2, that's 1 teaspoon. And when I use 4 of the bouillon, that's 2 teaspoons. So I'll set that to the side because by the time I taste, if I need more, I will add more. I just need to mix well. Okay, this has been frying together now for about 5 minutes. Now, the important thing I want you to pay attention to at this point is the fact that if you look at the quantity of my pepper to the quantity of my vegetable, if you want to give it that richness, you have to really splurge on your pepper. You want to give it enough pepper to kind of give the vegetable a whole lot of body to hold on to. So now, and I'm gonna use the whole thing. I'm gonna pour in all this pepper. You can hear the fried mixed meat saying, "You're welcome." Shh. You can hear that, right? You say, "Oh, Pepper, you're welcome to the club." Now you're gonna see all of them dancing together. Hey. At this point, you want to taste your sauce to make sure that you are not losing any seasoning. If you need to add more salt at this point, you can. If you need to increase your bouillon, you can. Because this needs to cook together for about 10 minutes. Then we're gonna add our vegetable and the soup is ready. The minute we put in vegetable, it's only gonna stay for 5 minutes and it's ready. I do not like to overcook my vegetables at all. I'm gonna cover this up and let it steam. While this is going on, I'm gonna go ahead and get my stuff together to make the pounded yam for this meal. See you in a little bit. So now this has been steaming for about 10 minutes. Oh la la! Hey, this thing don't settle. So at this point, I'm gonna put in my shrimps. That tells you the soup is almost ready. And I'm gonna mix that in. And this also gives the meat the opportunity to pull the juices from the pepper to kind of get a little bit softer if it wasn't soft enough. So at this point, I tasted this and I need to put in a little bit of bouillon, about 1 tablespoon. And I will put in a little bit of salt. And the reason I'm adding a little bit more to mine, I tasted the ginger, but I think you can just appreciate a little bit more. And I'm sure the garlic will be jealous if I don't put a little bit more of it too. So The reason why I had it a little bit more is by the time I put in my vegetables, inside my vegetable is going to suck some of the flavor from the sauce, and I still want it to be well rounded. So you just want to mix that in. Because of the shrimp, I'm just going to let this sit for about 2 minutes before I add in the vegetable. And on the other side of the stove, my water has been boiling. Actually, the water is now boiled. I have my pot out for me to cook my pounded yam. So I'm gonna go ahead and start cooking the pounded yam. You can see the bubbles on the bottom of the water. So that means that water is hot and ready. I already put this on medium. I'm gonna go ahead and get my, if you look on this bowl, that's the lid I use. That's my pounded yam, onion, and that's my pound of flour. I always put them in a big bowl because I buy them in big quantity. You just put that in gradually and you keep mixing. It's gonna look like it's lumpy. No, it's not. At this point, that is enough, because if you put extra at this point, it will be too much, and all you have to do is mix in the water and the flour properly. Let me borrow that, pass it over there. So we just want to blend it in. It doesn't take a long time, guys. By the time I blend it in for about 1 minute to 2, that should be good enough. Then I'm gonna put in, oh, that's a little boo-boo there. So, you said that you wanna make sure you mix in the flour properly with the water. Real good till you have your pounded yam smooth. If you're looking here, you shouldn't be seeing any flour. And make sure you move it to all the ones on the corners right round. You see that it is smooth, and that's all I'm going for. At this point, I'll take the water, a little bit of water, pour it round on it. Not too much. It's like you want to give it a bath for it to sit in. Break it up a little bit. Turn down the heat. If not, it's gonna start cooking so fast and splash. And because I'm using a non-stick pot, if I let the heat to be too high, guys, it's going to burn and give me all that brown thing sticking into the pounded yam, and it won't make it look pretty. And I want my pounded yam to look pretty. So you see, the water is still there and the pounded yam is broken up. And I'm gonna cover that. I'm gonna cover that and I'm gonna let it steam. At this point, I'm gonna reduce the heat. Ooh, that is a beauty. And it's time for me to mix this together. You can see all the oil. Look at that, the oil is coming back to the top, which means it has fried real good. You can see the shrimp, you can see all these obstacles. Hey, then go thick. So now, it's time for my vegetables to go in. Pour in my vegetables. I use my hand to spread it out. I don't want it all tied in together, so at this point, I spread it all out in there and I scrape it in. If you look in there, it's not burning at all because we did not overdo it. We did not increase the heat too much to kind of like encourage it to burn before the flavor gets released into one another. And that is well balanced. So at this point, I'm just gonna cover this up and let it steam together for about 5 minutes. and my vegetable is done, and it's gonna be on medium heat. I'm going back to my pounded yam. You can see that's boiling real good, and it's time for me to mix. You mix slowly at first because you really do not want that to splash on you. Okay, now that I was able to kind of like break all the pieces up and mix it in, then I can now give it a more good mix. We always mix to the side of the pot because it helps it to smooth together better. And if you look at it, it's not too thick. You can see the way it's falling back down. That tells you this is not thick and this is not watery. And that is how you want your pounded yam to look. When you pounded yam, or when you pound yam, you have to pound it that it looks like this. But hey, we don't have to do all that hard work no more. This is perfect. You won't even know when you're hitting it. Okay, so this is ready. I'm gonna leave that to steam, or not even actually leaving it to steam. I'm just gonna cover it up because I do not want it to be cold. At this point, just a little bit hot water. It is hot water just to stay on it. I don't want it drying out. I cover that up. Let me go to my vegetable, mix it up together, then I can plate this food for you. Look at that, guys. Woo. The oil is showing. If you look on the side of the pot, you see how the oil coming out. I'm gonna leave it for 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes and our vegetable soup is ready. So now, woo, guys, this is making me remember my dad tonight. This is beautiful. Woo, the smell in this house is amazing. And the taste of the soup, oh, is off the hook. You cannot believe all the obstacles in this soup. There is no bite you're gonna take that you're not gonna have something to munch on. This is a pot of amazing vegetable Efo Riro soup made with spinach and orishi obstacles. So this is what it looks like, and this is what the pounded yam looks like. Let me go ahead and plate this, and I will show you how we always enjoy this delicacy. See you in a little time. Guys, are you ready to see what this pounded yam and Efo Riro vegetable soup looks like? Voila! Here we go! I have this ready for you. Actually, this one is for me. It's been a wonderful time. This actually took me way back to the importance of family. My dad actually made this close to my heart. May he so rest in peace. And This is his favorite dish, and also ekuru, and that is gonna be another special, wonderful dish that I'll make for you one of these days. I'm not gonna do that by myself because it's a little bit tedious, but it's fun making. But this is pounded yam pando. I go to the African store, I buy my pounded yam flour, and I just make sure I get a good one. And this is my Efo Riro. I like my Efo Riro with a lot of obstacles. It's been a wonderful time in the kitchen. It's always a wonderful time in the kitchen. I try to make it meaningful, and it keeps me going. Remember to hold on to your faith. Remember never to let go of your family. They are the reason for a lot of the things we do. They explain who we are. And always hold on to your wonderful friends, the wonderful ones I'm saying, you know. Hold on to the ones that are root, and love each other. Love always, share love. May God bless you, and thank you so much for tuning in and watching to the end. I am tired of talking. I have to eat this food. So my hands are clean and washed and ready to go. Hey, see this something. Hey, see how soft this is. Wow. And this is my, which part of this soup should I start from? Let me start from the part closest to me. Oh wow. This is amazing. Cameraman, are you still recording? Please, I beg, cut this thing. Oh, before then, remember to share, like, and subscribe to my channel. I love you all. Please, I beg, cut this thing, make I jump.